right, so today we got some fun stuff to jump into. Right now, I know half the community is either down miserable on summons, broke, or those that saved pity, just pitied and saved pulls for everything else. The amount of players that I've seen, like zero over here. I've seen screenshots. Okay, some people tagged me on Twitter, some of the homies tagged me on Discord. It's insane. Let me know how many polls you're at right now. I'm very curious. Just if you want to, just let me know. Like, how bad is the community when it comes to summons wise? Because it looks like Rappi has drained everyone in multiple ways. So very crazy stuff. But today we're going to be draining a different sort of thing here. Pause. Today we're going to be jumping into and talking about Rappi when it comes to campaign, and she's going to be draining your resources as well when it comes to building this character, because it looks like Rappi can be used on that amazing 10 out of 10. Obviously, right, campaign team, and she might actually do better for a lot of stages for you, hence possibly creating a new top tier campaign team and allowing it to be used, where if you have if you rather use her versus somebody else, the results might very much shock you. So today we're gonna jump into it, talk about it. We're gonna team build the best team, and then we're gonna go in and do a showcase of what it looks like in campaign. We're gonna hard push campaign as far as I can possibly push in this video as well, to show you a bit more higher deficits and such. But there's a lot that we want to talk about. So new to the channel, like and subscribe, it helps out a ton. Let's get into first team building for this team. So let us begin over here. There's two ways to play Rappi, correct? When you play Rappi as standard Rappi, you are getting her as a B3. You play Rappi with no B1s on the court, you basically get Rappi as a B1, okay? That's the first thing to mention. Now, there's two ways you can form this campaign team. The thing is, with campaign team 1, let's say that you use Rappi as your B1, the only issue is your original B1 was Litter. Now, we're not saying that Rappi is 10 times better than Litter. We're not saying that Litter is 10 times better than Rappi. No. All we're stating is one fact. The fact is, Litter will help you on deficits and such, where Rappi can't help as much, because Litter provides damage reduction, or rather, enough to keep you alive. That's why Litter remains, when it comes to campaign team, I still think it's like the core B1, but if you don't have her, and you rather run Rappi, you could get away with some really good clears and some really fast clears. That's what Rappi does. She does very good when it comes to buffing up your team, and it's going to be better if you can survive. Let's say that now. If you can't survive, Litter has to be replaced then. That's how it works there. So when it comes to that, let's just do like this. The core team still remains to be, you want Crown, you want Naga. Let's put that there, okay? Let's say in the B1 category, what can we slot in? We can slot in Litter. We can. We can also slot in, yes, we can also slot in Rappi. When it comes to B1, if I were to go from this point onwards, between those two characters, you could consider D Killer Wife or whatever. If you were to say, what are the B1s that I can use on the best campaign clearing team? It's Litter. If you don't want to use Litter, it's Rappi. If you don't want to use Rappi, it's D Killer Wife, okay? That remains to be the same. That doesn't stop. In our case, to showcase this proper, we're going to leave Litter on, because I still think that this has to happen. You still kind of require her defensive and whatever buffs of the team. You want that, and you really do. So I'm gonna leave her on. We have our two B2s, correct? That's our entire process we're going for here. We're then gonna go to B3 now. Now, filtering by B3, Rappi has to be on here, because the amount of damage she does, both in B1 and in B3, she's a monster. Okay. Now, when it comes to the next slot, this is where it also breaks down. You can go and use Cinderella. I would highly recommend, if you're farming or trying to clear a campaign and you're trying to clear a bossing stage, Cinderella needs to be there. And you need Cinderella for that, because she is 10 times better than everybody else in the game when it comes to clearing a boss super quickly. So that's there. Now, you don't want Cinderella, Red Hood, okay? Depending on the elemental buff as well, on what stage you're farming, whoever is the type advantage, you can always go for that as well. It's up to you. If it's not this, it's Modernia. Modernia was always on this team as well. She was one of the best characters when it came to this entire thing. Modernia doesn't leave. It's still the same. That doesn't change. Now, Modernia doesn't work for you, go Scarlet. Scarlet Black Shadow. This Black Shadow doesn't work for you, go standard Scarlet. Up to you, correct? Depending on the deficit, depending on the typing, depending on the advantage, I just gave you the full, basically B3 orientation, and you're gonna go. That's why in this situation, right, having Rappi in, being able to slot in another character, like, you genuinely have made the core, like the great team here, and also having the usability and viability of the fact that, just like Red Hood, if Litter goes and kicks the bucket early, guess what? Rappi can still keep the team together, by the fact that she becomes a B1 afterwards. Again, it's like such a cool function, but team building wise, this is kind of what you want to go for. If options are always there, you have the ability to slot, like basically slot in anybody on the B3 slot with this, with this, anybody that's a B3 damage dealer that's super good for you, go for that. When it comes to B2, you can get away with Grave as well. Grave is great. Still, that doesn't change. And I've seen a lot of teams for campaign run with Grave. So if that's what you want to go for, that's what you want to go for. But this is the team we're going to try out today in campaign. We're going to push as much as can, show as much gameplay as I can about how this team functions and how good it does. So let's do that as much as I can push. All right, so basically I went and progressed as much as I could before recording this segment, because I know people are going to be like, hey, you're not doing it in high deficit or in a deficit, which is true. But what I still wanted to show was basically from the testing scene and everything, the team that I'm still showing you is basically the new kind of best team, and especially for a lot of situations you can now toggle that character in versus other picks. But sadly I won't be able to show you like a super high deficit, but I did push from, where was I originally, from when the start of the video happened? I was chapter 26, now we're 29 basically, because we're finishing 28 right now. So we wanted to show this off, or I wanted to at least get you you know, acclimated to some gameplay here regarding what this has here. We'll just go for it. Let's see what happens here. But I will say right now, from testing this character and from testing that I've seen, Roppy is insane. There's no doubt about that. Both for campaign, both for releasing her with the Elysian Tower, both with the everything. She's going to be an insane character, and it's super nice to kind of see this happen, where Rompy is getting the love she deserves. It's so nice to see that. JV players are so excited. KR players are losing their mind. Everyone is really excited right now because it's deserved. The main character, right? The main, you know, poster girl got the love she deserves here, and she is a very powerful character, and it's so much fun testing the character and seeing in each content where she shines and the nice little cool gimmicks that she has also. It's super cool to see. But remember, in some situations, the bossing stages will always be taken by Cinderella. She will do so good, especially in this boss, you know, especially she will do so good. So remember that when it comes down to it. That's why it's like, it's not that it's just a static team. The team will continuously change, and you can run other options here. Rompy is just a 10 out of 10 option now to put in the team, put in the core team. If you're not running Modernia anymore, you don't want to run Modernia. If you're not running, let's say Red Hood, if you're not running, you know, Scarlet Black Shadow, regular Scarlet, any other B3 like that, if you're not running those things, this is the character to run instead, and to kind of slot in for that. So just remember that is kind of what they're going for here. I will jump cut till we get back to the campaign, so 1 second. But yes, continuing onwards here, sadly the gameplay that I'm showing you isn't going to be anything at like a super deficit or anything, but by those testing, she's around at a 30, 40, 50% deficit. She is nuts, and that doesn't change. So if you are between chapters, whatever, it doesn't matter. She's going to help you regardless. And people that were saying the same thing during Cinderella, hey, my Cinderella is able to push all of a sudden, you know, all the story chapters have been stuck at, I can now progress. Oh my god, what's happening here? That's how good Cinderella was. And the same things are happening now with Roppy. A lot of players who fully built her are seeing the same thing here. I also want to make it clear, my Roppy is not fully built. I should have said that earlier. I don't know if I did. Did I? Because I cut this video up a little bit now. But my Roppy is not fully built. She's missing 6 OL lines. Not 6, maybe less, but she's running 2, so 1 element, 1 attack, 2 ammo, and then crit chance, hit rate, and crit damage. And 3 of those are garbage stats to have on her, especially when she really benefits from everything else much better. So just keep that in mind when you are watching this gameplay here. My Cindy has much more better OL lines, but her skills are lower. My Roppy is 777. She's, I think, 767. I think I never built one of the skills. But yeah, so theoretically, technically, they're like on par. We'll just say that they're on par. But the OL lines are much better for Cindy, so just keep that in mind. But again, regardless of anything, the other cool thing this character also has, that if your litter dies, which litter does die here and there on campaign stages depending on the targeting and how that works. If litter dies, guess who steps up and takes over the B1, just like kind of Red Hood. Roppy takes the B1, she becomes a 20-second cooldown, and then starts adapting from there and helping the team push, which is another super cool mechanic that Roppy has, and it's so cool that she has that mechanic. You gotta realize that. So for a lot of campaign stages, a lot of stages associated, having that little mechanic, and especially, that's why it's a little bit better than Red Hood. People are like, oh, what Red Hood does the same. No, Red Hood becomes a 40-second at that point, so she has 1 burst and then death. Here, she becomes a 20-second. It automatically transfers to the 20-second because there is no B1 found on the team anymore. Hence why the usability is here in solo raids and such, where if litter dies early and you have still another 30 seconds, maybe 2 burst cycles or whatever, you can make it work, and Rompy can make it work, which is super cool. So that's also another mechanic that's built in there. But campaign clearing wise, sadly the gameplay isn't going to be enough to show you what you need to see. But in higher deficit, she can compete, and she can destroy, and her damage is just. It's like the numbers are so high. It's like they cranked the numbers to 11 when they made this character. They're like, it's not enough. More. You know what I mean? They just like dump more power into her. 60 is what you got over here. So very fun testing. I've had a blast these last few days. I've been trying to build her. Again, the only issue is she'll drain you in multiple ways. Okay? Bank account, you know what else, and resources. She's a very, very heavy character. Don't clip that. Don't put that in the comment section. Between me and you, she's a very, very good character, and with that it comes a very, very big payment. All right, it's like your wife, right? You're gonna have to take care of her, be nice to her, and share all your possessions and such, and in this case, all your resources and gems. It's gonna be great. Have fun. Let me know down below how dead you guys are on your accounts. I've seen everyone talking about how they have no gems, and they're showing me their accounts. Most of my comment section, like at least 40-50 people have showed me their accounts. They're just dead. They're dead, dog. And it's crazy how much people have gone in this banner here, or how much this character, or recently maybe, considering everything so far, how much people went in, and how dead they are right now in summons, in pity, and everything. So altogether, I will say Shit have been successful in draining you before, technically whatever's next, but you do have a little bit of time to save until the collaboration and reruns and such, right? Ish, but 1728 because of the shield and such. But very powerful stuff here, and I had a great time testing it. And depending on what you want, don't think that's like the end-all staple team. There's always swapping that can occur. And if a stage is like, hey, it's a bossing stage, maybe Cindy goes up first instead of bursting on burst rotation with Roppy. Put Cindy up first, and then in that case, maybe Roppy is not cooking as much as you want her to, and maybe an elemental advantage is elsewhere. Then just swap in. But for now, she fits on the best team, and it's great. It's 10 out of 10, and I had a blast. So, and everyone else who tested it, don't forget.